On February 11, 951, Guo Wei, a prominent military official during China's 5 dynasties and 10 kingdoms period, led a coup against the later Han dynasty. Following his successful uprising, he declared himself emperor, founding the Later Zhou Dynasty. His reign, though brief, was marked by efforts to implement reforms aimed at alleviating the burdens on the peasantry and stabilizing the region. Guo Wei's leadership was noted for its vigor and organization, but he died from illness in 954, just 3 years after ascending the throne. On February 11, 1144, English scholar Robert of Chester completed the first Latin translation of an Arabic alchemical work titled Liber de compositione alchemiae, book on the composition of alchemy. This translation is significant as it introduced alchemical knowledge to the Latin-speaking world, marking the birth of Western alchemy. The work is presented as a dialogue between the Umayyad prince Khalid ibn Yazid and the Byzantine monk Maurianus, discussing the composition and philosophy of alchemy. On February 11, 1534, during the Convocation of Canterbury, the Assembly of English Clergy recognized King Henry VIII as the supreme head of the Church of England and its clergy, so far as the law of Christ allows. This declaration was a pivotal moment in the English Reformation, leading to the separation of the Church of England from the Roman Catholic Church and the papal authority of Rome. On February 11, 1584, a Spanish naval expedition led by Pedro Sarmiento de Gamboa established the settlement of Nombre de Jesus, the first of 2 short-lived Spanish colonies in the Strait of Magellan. Despite initial efforts, the settlement faced numerous challenges, including harsh weather conditions and isolation, leading to its abandonment shortly thereafter. On February 11, 1586, English sea captain Sir Francis Drake led a successful assault on the Spanish colonial port of Cartagena de Indias, located in present-day Colombia. Drake's forces occupied the city for over 2 months, during which they secured a substantial ransom and seized valuable goods before withdrawing. On February 11, 1659, during the Dano-Swedish War, Swedish forces launched an assault on Copenhagen. The attack was repelled by the city's defenders, resulting in significant losses for the Swedish army. This event was a crucial moment in the conflict, demonstrating the resilience of Copenhagen's fortifications and its inhabitants. On February 11, 1794, the United States Senate held its first open session to the public. Prior to this, Senate sessions were conducted behind closed doors. Opening the sessions to the public marked a move towards greater transparency in the legislative process of the newly established government. On February 11, 1808, Jesse Fell conducted an experiment in which he successfully burned anthracite coal on an open grate. This demonstration proved that anthracite could be used as a viable heating source for homes, leading to its widespread adoption and contributing to the growth of the coal industry in the United States. On February 11, 1812, Massachusetts Governor Elbridge Gerry approved a controversial redistricting plan that favored his political party. One of the resulting districts was said to resemble the shape of a salamander, leading critics to coin the term gerrymandering to describe the manipulation of electoral boundaries for partisan advantage. On February 11, 1826, University College London, UCL, was established as the University of London. It was founded to provide higher education to individuals who had been excluded from existing universities, promoting a philosophy of inclusivity and academic excellence. UCL became the first university in England to admit students regardless of their religion, and was also the first to admit women on equal terms with men. On February 11, 1858, 14-year-old Bernadette Subaru experienced her first vision of a lady at the Grotto of Massabielle near Lourdes, France. Over the following months, she reported a total of 18 apparitions, during which the lady, later identified as the Blessed Virgin Mary, conveyed messages emphasizing prayer and penance. These events led to Lourdes becoming a major site of pilgrimage, renowned for its association with miraculous healings. On February 11, 1889, the Meiji Constitution was promulgated, establishing the Empire of Japan as a constitutional monarchy. Influenced by German and British models, the Constitution created a bicameral parliament known as the Imperial Diet, consisting of an elected House of Representatives and an appointed House of Peers. While it provided a framework for modernization and legal reforms, the emperor retained significant powers, reflecting Japan's efforts to balance Western institutional structures with its own traditions. In early 1937, auto workers at General Motors plants in Flint, Michigan, initiated a sit-down strike, occupying the factories to demand recognition of the United Auto Workers (UAW) union. The strike concluded on February 11, 1937, when General Motors agreed to recognize the UAW, marking a significant victory for labor unions in the United States and setting a precedent for future labor negotiations. On February 11, 1938, the BBC aired the world's first science fiction television program, an adaptation of a segment from Carol Capek's play R.U.R. Rossum's Universal Robots. This play is notable for introducing the term robot to the world. The broadcast marked a pioneering moment in television history, bringing science fiction narratives to the small screen for the first time. On February 11, 1946, the New Testament of the Revised Standard Version, RSV, of the Bible was published. This translation aimed to provide a readable and accurate version of the Scriptures, serving as a significant update to the Authorized King James Version. The RSV sought to incorporate findings from more recent biblical scholarship and manuscript discoveries, making it a pivotal work in modern biblical translations. On February 11, 1953, U.S. President Dwight D. Eisenhower denied all appeals for clemency for Julius and Ethel Rosenberg, who had been convicted of espionage for allegedly passing atomic secrets to the Soviet Union. Despite international appeals for leniency, the Rosenbergs were executed in June 1953, becoming the first American civilians to be executed for espionage during peacetime. On February 11, 1970, Japan successfully launched its first satellite, Ohsumi, into orbit using its own booster. This achievement made Japan the fourth nation, after the Soviet Union, the United States, and France, to place a satellite into orbit independently, marking a significant milestone in its space exploration efforts. On February 11, 1990, Nelson Mandela was released from Victor Verster Prison near Cape Town, South Africa, after 27 years of incarceration. His release marked a pivotal moment in South Africa's transition away from apartheid, leading to Mandela's subsequent election as the country's first black president in 1994. On February 11, 1997, NASA's Space Shuttle Discovery was launched on a mission to service the Hubble Space Telescope. The crew successfully performed maintenance and upgrades, enhancing the telescope's capabilities and extending its operational life, thereby contributing significantly to astronomical research. On February 11, 2011, after 17 days of mass protests during the Arab Spring, Egyptian President Hosni Mubarak resigned from office, ending his nearly 30-year rule. Power was transferred to the Supreme Military Council, leading to a period of political transition in Egypt. On February 11, 2020, the World Health Organization officially named the novel coronavirus outbreak as COVID-19, with the virus itself designated as SARS-CoV-2. This naming provided a standardized reference for the global health crisis that was unfolding, facilitating clearer communication and coordination in response efforts.